What's up, guys, and welcome back to Prime Collectibles. Thank you as always for joining me. Today is a very special day because they have finally done a Ghost in the Shell Major Kusanagi 1/4 scale polystone statue. This is licensed. I am so excited. I've been waiting forever for this thing, so let's get right into the review. So for those of you who are not familiar with Ghost in the Shell, this is one of those quintessential anime slash mangas. It was one of the first that I ever saw, and it holds a special place in my heart, as it does for numerous other people. It's also one of the greatest cyberpunk and earlier cyberpunk stories. For me, it's right up there with Blade Runner as one of the greatest cyberpunk films ever made. It's about a cyborg federal agent named Major Motoko Kusanagi, which trails a character called the Puppet Master, who illegally hacks into the computerized minds of cyborg human hybrids. Her pursuit of a man who can modify the identity of strangers leaves Makoto pondering her own makeup and what life might be if she had more human traits. With her partner, she corners the hacker, but her curiosity about her identity sends the case in unforeseen directions. That's the general plot. If you want to know more, I highly recommend you actually just watch the anime or read the manga because the story is incredible. So guys, this is, as I mentioned, a 1/4 scale polystone piece. This was made by OnlyFans, for f***'s sake. This looks like an OnlyFans piece. It was created by a company called With Fans in collaboration with Good Smile Company. Anybody who collects scale figures probably knows Good Smile. Now, I think Good Smile was more on the distribution side and With Fans actually on the production side. But in any case, it's a big collaboration on the first time that this franchise has had a full 1/4 scale polystone statue. And man, I know a lot of collectors have been waiting a long time for them to use this IP because it's very much beloved. This statue was up for pre-order roughly 2 years ago, I believe. I think I pre-ordered it maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. It was finally released in August of this year, and I finally got it in my hands just the other day. So there's a bit of a story to this. I pre-ordered this from a kind of a more local, smaller retailer out of my hometown, Victoria, British Columbia in Canada here. And the guy that I bought it from just went silent. After COVID, nobody could get a hold of him. I went on the Facebook pages and everyone's like, where is this guy? He ripped me off. Where's my statue or my money? So I reached out to him, didn't hear back, and I thought, oh great. This statue was 108,000 yen. So it was over $1,300 American. It's a very expensive statue. I thought I was out this money. I'm like, over 1,600 bucks Canadian, I'm now out. Fantastic. Finally, the guy actually reached out to me. He said, hey, sorry, this and that has been going on in my life, but your statue is coming and I'll be sending it out soon. So to make a long story short, it came into hand and now I have it. And I will now go through my thoughts on this much anticipated piece. Okay guys, so let me start my review by giving my general impression of this statue. Creatively, I like where they went with this. They had a bunch of different options when it came to how they were going to show Major Kusanagi in statue form. And I think the choice to go with sort of the anime's main visual representation, what they showed on the DVD covers, a lot of the promotional material for this had this sort of stripped down naked Major Kusanagi with all of the piping and tubes and electrical components in her. This is a very quintessential look and image for the story. It's interesting to note that I believe I read once that The Matrix took a lot of inspiration from Ghost in the Shell, because Ghost in the Shell certainly came before it. And you can see that in how the piping is coming out of the back of her head. This is all to say, I do really like the creative choice to have her in this pose and use this scene. That said, I'm not quite sure how I feel about her portrait. It's not quite the anime look. It's not quite the manga look. The manga, she had quite large eyes. That era of manga kind of liked to play with those sort of like bigger eyes and the kind of more round faces. And when it came to anime, she looked much more sort of realistic looking, we'll say. And I think this is somewhere in the middle. I just don't know if I love that. I would have liked to have seen her face mirror more what I knew from the anime. It's not bad. It's just an artistic take that maybe I wouldn't have done. In terms of the different pieces, the different components of her, I think things are done well. Let's start, well, I've talked about her portrait. Let's talk about the portrait. Everything looks like it's hand painted here. Often with 1/4 scale statues, they use stickers for the eyes, to get all the details in the eyes. From what I can see, I believe this looks hand painted. And the paint on the lips and the eyebrows all look good as well. The paint in the hair looks nice. You know, just generally speaking, I think the paint is really well done. If you look coming down into the body in the little sections where you can see the cybernetics coming through the skin, there's sort of a more darker pinkish hue where it looks like you know, pieces come on and off of there. I think that's a really nice detail. The areas in her arm where there's little slats allowing heat, the heat vents or something like that, they're painted. The body itself is painted, but the differences in tones are subtle, and I like that. I would say, just generally speaking, the paint on this statue says quality. It doesn't say mass production. It suggests that there was care put into every one of these, which sort of goes along with the higher price tag, but also the idea that this was very limited run. You know, this isn't no shade to Sideshow, but this isn't a Sideshow piece. They're not making thousands and thousands of them and sort of churning them out of a factory. The wires that are coming out of her could look a little better. These are all actual wires that you kind of plug in yourself, except for these bigger pieces, which I believe are made of plastic so that they're pliable enough to plug into the different areas. But they just look a little bit cheap to me. There's something that doesn't look quite right to me. As I say this, I think I've honed in on what the problem is for me in my mind. It's the same reason I don't like mixed media on my statues. They don't look perfect. And by perfect, I mean it looks like, if you have a completely sculpted statue, head to toe, you are getting exactly what the artist intended you to see with that. When you start getting mixed media, the little details in how you pose a cape or an outfit will vary, and it often just doesn't mirror that same level of quality in the design, because it's just, you're doing it yourself. And a lot of people just don't pose things properly. Those parts that are mixed media don't fit the sort of very purposeful, very artistically sculpted rest of the piece. And I think that's the case with these little wires. But generally speaking, I do think that the level of detail in all the little components that plug into her, where the cords meet, all these little intricate bits coming out of her back and in the panels where the flesh is removed, I think look really good. These bigger pipes, they look good as well. Again, because while they're a little bit pliable, the position you see of them is how the artist intended them to be. There's no monkeying around with that too much. Her weapon in her hand, her AR, the paint on that and the detail on it it's so-so. You know, I struggle to knock this for things that I think are an artistic choice. Even the detail in her skin, and like I said, the style of her face and the sort of more basic look of her weapon, I think these are artistic choices because you either go with what we saw in the anime, which is by its nature going to be a little bit less detailed because you can't animate super detailed things. And I think that they went with an anime look for the most part with this, but it means that you don't get the detail. So I think my brain, it sees this and it thinks, well, I have Prime 1 statues that are highly detailed, every little piece of it. And then I look at this and I think, well, this is not so much. But again, I think that they're trying to go with how she looked in the anime, but a little bit of a blend of the manga. So I don't want to knock the statue for an artistic choice that is purposeful as opposed to laziness on the producer's side, because I don't think that's what's going on here. The base has a really nice sheen to it. The paint they used on the base I think is really well done. The detail is fairly minimal, but I think again it's intentional because your eye should be drawn to her. That's kind of the point of this. The base is secondary, and it's not bad, it's just not highly detailed. I like that it comes with this certificate of authenticity. It feels like quality. I'm going to put this up and display her with it. My final thoughts on this statue are mostly great. I love her. I love that I have a Major Kusanagi now in my collection. I actually never thought that would happen, or if I did think it was going to happen, I thought it would have to be a third-party unlicensed group, and those the quality can vary with those, right? But generally speaking, I absolutely love this statue. I'm gonna put her beside my Ninja Scroll statue, because once I get my Figurama Vampire Hunter statue in, I'm gonna have him, I'm gonna have Jubei, I'm gonna have the Major, and then all I need is a Kaneda on his bike from Akira, and my life is complete. My statue collecting journey is complete. Not really, but I eventually do wanna have those all in one display together. That's it, guys. I appreciate you watching. I hope that I've given a little bit of insight into this statue and helped you in your decision if you come across this in the aftermarket and you're thinking about buying it. Thanks again, as always, for watching. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the little bell notification so you're notified of new videos when they're out. And I'll keep pumping out the content as long as you guys keep watching. Until next time, later.